to share some few thoughts about making sense of the AI, taking the cognitive signals from different directions, and how you make it useful for your business. Hopefully, I will add value to your time here. I'm Solomon Madadha. I work for Regions Bank Wealth Management. I manage data, analytics, and governance to support all the lines of business for Regions Wealth Management. We do private wealth management, institutional services, investment services, 401k, retirement funds, and natural resources. If you're a Regions customer, thank you for your business. If not, we look forward to having you. All right, so I'm talking about customer preferences, right? So I was thinking about putting a nice phrase, come up with a nice phrase for customer preferences. And I said, let me ask ChatGPT what it's going to give me. I said, give me a phrase for customer preferences, and this is what it came up with. It said, I don't find anything immediately, but I can assimilate some information and give it back to you. And it said, knowing customer preferences is the key to deliver products and services that delight, engage, and retain customers in today's competitive market. I mean, I couldn't put that in a better words or better sentences. That's apt for any business, knowing customer preferences. My journey in the US started 23 years ago, right down the road, a mile down the road, called Biltmore Building, where Colin Coleman, he was also a speaker at this place, so he hired me to do a job. So he was working, he's a brilliant mind. He's an alumni for Georgia Tech, master's, PhD from Stanford. This guy is brilliant. So he was developing some prototypes for B2B e-commerce. So that company was engaged in B2B e-commerce products and services, competing with Ariba, Commerce One. So it's a startup company. So he had two different products. One is the map. That's what he had me to do for. It's called multi-attribute preferencing. And the second thing is called push, of course, to subscribe mails, and you send out customer notifications when something is ready for you on the marketplace. So my project was MAP, M-A-P, multi-attribute preferencing. So we have this B2B exchange. We have products that all the businesses list them, and we have other businesses buying those products and services as a B2B exchange. So I'm supposed to go and find out the three key preferences for each business, which is your price and quantity and time. So if you give me those three preferences, what I can do is I can put them together and then give a scoring of all the available offers in the market. So if it's 100%, then I'll give you a full bar with a green. If it's 75%, I'll give you with a yellow and green. So those kind of color coding stuff. So, and that was the cutting edge back then, but we have come a long way since that time. Now, without knowing customer preferences, it's hard to service anybody. And then the signals we get today is explosive amount of data that we get for each customer, and which is available in public marketplaces. So how do we make use of that data and make sense and service your customer, serve the customer better, give better customer experience, right? So when we talk about technology disruptions, there are a lot of things that change the course of history. There are things that come and go, but these things have really changed the course of technology, changed the course of business applications. The first thing is the internet. I mean, if you are under 30 years, you would not understand what I'm talking about, because you cannot imagine a life without internet. But there was a day when the internet was not available and we had to dial in with a 54K baud modem, and then you pay by the minute and all that, so on and so forth. So that was revolutionary. Every business needed to have a static HTML page as a business storefront. There's no activity interaction, but there's a static HTML page that for advertise your business, what do you do with few pictures and text. And later on, you had more interaction, post back things like CGI, gateways came into play where you can take information, post it back, and bring it back. So that was the next step. So similarly, after that, e-commerce, which is what I was talking about, the B2B e-commerce, C2C, all those kinds of e-commerce things came into play. And later on, the advent of smartphones, we changed our life forever. Nowadays, people cannot imagine life without a smartphone. So I guess you will have a heart attack if you don't find your phone within the next 30 minutes, right? And social media. So if you don't have a social media account, you don't exist in this world, whether it's Facebook, LinkedIn, or whatever stirs up your, whatever excites you every day. So that's got to have it. And then the big data, which changed the game of having varieties of information together with the veracity, velocity, and all this big stuff, good stuff. And the cloud computing actually changed the game for even better. Now all these synergies have come together with the cloud, and of course the blockchain, which is financial disruption as well. Right, all these technology disruptions, the next big thing is AI. So the AI is going to change the course that I believe is going to change the course of history for forever. This is going to be the biggest thing you'll ever see because there's a lot of adoption for products and services, whether you're a customer, you're a business, or day-to-day user, you are impacted by AI already, even if you don't know it, right? So if you look at this from the Gartner, so the products and services, what the forecast for next 3 years is, in 2026, more than $10 billion will have been invested in AI startup that rely on foundation models, right? $10 billion within the next 3 years. And this is a very moderate estimate, right? And by 2026, 30% of new applications will use AI to drive personalized, adaptive user interfaces, up from 5% today. Is a lot of growth from 3 years from now. And then 2025, AI-driven product and the customer experience analytic tools will be the prime source of insight for 40% of digital product enhancements, up from 10% today. So all these forecasts are telling that within the next 3 years, there's going to be explosive growth of AI adoption and products and services. I recall a story when I was in India and I was working for this a national training computer center that I'm a business manager. I'm trying to promote this products and services. That's the e-commerce in '99. So when we had the slides back in the day, a slide projector with slides. So one of the slides said that the B2B e-commerce is booming, and then by 2022, Amazon is going to hit $3.2 billion. I'm not personally convinced, but I'm doing my job, so I have to say what I got to say. But I'm not personally convinced. But looking back in history, Amazon actually crossed $5.8 billion. So it's actually twice the forecast that Gartner has projected back in '99. So these projections are very moderate, very conservative, but I'm thinking this could be a lot more coming into play. So use cases. There are a lot of use cases today that we can think about. One thing that comes to my mind, whether NLP, autonomous vehicles, I'm sure a lot of you drive Tesla cars, so you are already seeing the power of AI. So it's fascinating that when you drive the car, how is it able to understand the object next to it with cameras and be able to give you an image of a car or a truck or a person or a cone or a line. Everything is done within instantaneously with a small computer on board. So this is fascinating. So the power is available to us, and what we do with that makes significant impact to your business and customers. And so when other application that I've been impacted with is Photoshop. I'm a photograph enthusiast. I've been doing pictures. I like to take pictures. I like to do some editing and do some all kinds of cool stuff. So back in the day, if you took a picture and usually use a green mat or a blue mat to take that person out of the picture and do a nice cool backdrop, just like you see all these bus photos and things like that, you have nice cool digital backdrops. So especially when you're working with girls' hairs, the hair, taking out the color from the back hair if you don't have the light is very, very difficult to do that because you have to clean every hair follicle. There is a YouTube video, a 16-minute video, how to clean all the color out of the hair and make the hair look very nice. But now, the AI, that Photoshop has come with the AI that you can just text and say, you can select the area and brush and say, take out this object, add a scenery, add a beach, or add something else. And it blends so nicely with everything. One of the examples that they showed was, if you have a room with a light coming through the window, and you select the area and say, put a cat out there, and there will be a cat, very sizable to the floor, very sizable, realistic to the whole dimensions. And the light that's coming through the window will be actually shining on the cat exactly the same direction. How is it able to do that? It's able to recognize the pixels, the background, and is able to do wonderful things, more than you can do with a human hand and art. So at the same time, what they did is they created one more product exclusively for AI called Firefly, which is a recent product, and they're trying to think that this Firefly will add at least $500 million additional revenue per year with subscriptions every month. So this is going to impact huge. And one more application that I can think about as just Photoshop. A few years ago, if you're selling a house in the market and the realtor will tell you that we need to furnish all this house with beautiful furniture, stage it, so you'll have nice pictures, and then the users will look at it and they buy it. And then there's another way of doing it is, if you don't want the furniture, to rent the furniture, you can also do a virtual staging, like there'll be a pictures, Photoshop, whatnot, and they will do some kind of a digital imaging. But it's not real. It looks fake, and sometimes you cannot even show the floor because the beds and the tables are all flying in the air. You can't see how it's blended into the floor. But now, you can do anything with Photoshop. I mean, with the Firefly. You can take a room, and then you can fill up with all kinds of furniture. Everything, colors, everything is possible with AI. That's fascinating to me as a guy who uses Photoshop a lot. And the applications and the future is enormous. So if you look at the finance and fintech, what I come from, my background, is the trading platforms are going to change with this AI capabilities, and fraud detection is huge because we spend a lot of money preventing fraud and handling risk, all this other security stuff like that for banks, and that's going to be a huge application for AI in financial services, and of course the customer service, which we are striving towards to provide the best, excellent customer service for our customers. So the AI applications that we talk about, there are so many aspects of today. You've seen the ChatGPT, the power of ChatGPT, how it can take a URL and read the whole book and give you a summary within no time. I don't have time to read the book, so take this URL. I will pass it on to you, summarize the whole thing within, how to Millionaire Next Door, or whatever the book is. It'll give you the summary within seconds. So all this power, and you see the predictive modeling that we've been using different ways, and of course we talked about autonomous vehicles and augmented creativity that I talked about, the power, what do you call the Photoshop things. So the personalization, this is what I'm talking about. If you know your customer preferences coming from different signals, right now a lot of information is available to you in public domains, whether search engines, or you're getting the information through social media, what the customer's looking for, their demographics, financial affordability, the credit scores, everything is available to you. So one of the recent times that I was really impressed with AI, at work is I drive a Tesla Model 3. So, and last year, the cars were backed up so much, so you just have to get what you could. So that was available, so we got that, and then we realized that it's not a family car. It's only not going to be very comfortable for the family. So what do we do? Go to the next level, Y or X or things like that. So I've been very interested to see that, and so recently, for the long weekend, we went to a city from where we are to where the Tesla shop was. And then we went there, so he asked me, I said, can I drive a X, take it for a ride? And then he said, sure, give me your driver's license, give me your insurance. And then, so we went for a ride, we came back. It was almost like 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, they were going to close the shop. And while I was leaving, he got a text saying, so I got a message, would you like to keep the car for the night? I'm like, oh yeah, of course. So he immediately offered that car to me for the whole night. So I was test driving for the whole night. You can imagine that I slept less that night, and then to get back in the morning. How did he make that determination? Obviously, he's not going to offer that for everybody. So one thing is, he got my driver's license, he got my driver's history, safe driver. Second thing, insurance. I got adequate protection on the car if something happens to the car. He got my credit report that I can afford the car in case I want to buy it. And then he also has information to my profile, customer profile, because I'm a Tesla customer. I've been searching on the customer web pages, looking at all the products and features of this car. So he already knows that I have interest. So all this information put together, he was able to make the decision to give me the car that night. And then what happened was my interest of buying the car went from 25% to 75%. Now I have to convince my wife and then put the finances in order. So you saw all this personalization of data sources. So all this information that we get from different signals, whether about the customer, what the customer want, and so if you look at the cognitive senses, what I talk about, the different signals that you hear about, you hear, your speech, your touch, your different various signals. Recently, I was talking to a startup company that they're working on a product to implement that in the airports to avoid this hassle-free check-ins for the Star ID people who are already checked in. So they would be able to recognize the face, look at your mobile phone, authenticate your ID through various sources, your personal variables, it's a Bluetooth headphone, or your other Bluetooth variables that cognitively they can understand that this is the person who is going to the airport, and then they can ask you to just check in with no problems. I'm looking forward to that kind of life instead of taking my shoes, my trousers and everything else, putting in the basket. If they know that I'm a safe traveler and I'm already authenticated through all my different identities, that would be an awesome application. So if you look at this one, as you know, the location. When I was going through a master's program in 2005, there are two projects I've done. One is location-based marketing. One is things like how cool it'll be if you are from Atlanta and if you're going to California on a trip or Vegas on a trip, and exactly you see a display of a commercial that relates to you, for your hometown, something like Center Stage or something in Buckhead or something like that, you'll immediately connect. So that's location-based marketing. Like you're stuck in driving, you're getting bored, and then you can't go anywhere. Suddenly something pops up on your phone saying, hey, we have this on sale, the TV you're looking for in Best Buy, take right here and just come to our place. So Waze is already doing it. Waze is already pushing those commercials. So that we thought about 15 years ago or 18 years ago, but the technology was not available, just a concept. And the grocery pickup, that you would go through the grocery lines and all this logistics about organizing the groceries and how do you handle all that. Now it's all possible because the technology is advanced so much. So if you look at your cognitive senses, like your voice of customer, you're understanding what the customer feedback is, how satisfied your customer is, and NPS, and how is a customer referring to other, how is he subscribing to the services and recommending that product to other customers. And then the location and the KYC programs, and then all this other information that if you can put together, we have the signals, and how do we put them together and make sense of the signals to arrive at a conclusion. If somebody walks into an automobile dealership, you have plethora of choices to make: color, your specs, features, your car seats, your combinations of all those things. What if when you walk in and the salesman approaches you and say, I know exactly what you want, here is a car waiting for you. You'll be thrilled, right? So that's possible with this cognitive senses I'm talking about. So the enterprise AI adoption, so we have, obviously everybody wants to do that. Everything starts with a very good data, clean data, and then you have use cases, just not for the sake of implementing AI, but you need to have a good use case that will provide a better customer experience. Your ROI and the money you're investing in has to have a decent return. And then you have governance. Huge thing on the AI nowadays is the governance impact of it, and how do you control this beast? How do you make use of this power, the responsibility? With great power comes great responsibility. How do you use this responsibly and use it for your advantage, not misuse it, and make sure nobody's misusing it either? So the main thing we talked about, the data integration capabilities. bringing information from different places, analysis, how do you make sense of it, and real-time processing, bringing the data as quickly as possible. How can you scale that? And how can you create the AI, ML, inputs or all these models to cater for your AI products and solutions? I think my time is coming up, and there's the stack of layers that you need for your enterprise adoption. And thank you very much for your time. Hope you have something out of this session.